I have flown a lot of aircraft, and surprisingly, I've never flown anything like this. This is the TL-3000 Sirius Ultralight. And did you know that you don't need a private pilot's license to fly an ultralight in the US? Now let me clarify before you run down to the comments and tell me how wrong I am. The FAA's definition is an ultralight has only one seat, is only used for sports and recreational flying, but does not have an airworthiness certificate. Ultralights can be powered or unpowered. If they're unpowered, they should weigh less than 155 pounds. Powered, they weigh less than 254 pounds empty, and have a fuel capacity not exceeding 5 US gallons, and are not capable of exceeding 55 knots at full power in level flight. But now that brings us to this aircraft, the TL-3000 Sirius, labeled as an ultralight, but really it's more of a light sport aircraft because our empty weight on this thing is about 654 pounds. We can do about 120. 112, I think. And we'll look more into all that stuff as we do our flight today. But there's a few really cool special things about this aircraft, and we'll take a look at them as we go throughout this flight. So let's hop inside and get started. All right, before we start her up, let's take a look at the EFB. And I want to give a quick shout out to FS Reborn. They're the only reason I'm actually trying out this aircraft. I don't normally fly planes like this, but FS Reborn has a reputation of making just masterpiece aircraft. I've loved every single aircraft, and there's no reason why I won't love this one. So it has the signature EFB we have here with the wear and tear system. So this is telling us the status of each of the elements of our aircraft, like our engine, our tires, and our lights and battery. Gonna go ahead and remove the pitot cover and the chocks from this page. We can go to the Realism tab, and you can see here, you can turn on and off all of the different failure simulations. But that's what I like. I like my GA planes to fly like living and breathing and actually have that failure simulation based on how I fly the aircraft, how I treat it. So on the maintenance page, this is where you'll make changes and fixes to things that you've broken. So if you click on any of these blue dots, you can go and you can perform maintenance. You can do a full engine overhaul. I've only put in a few hours on this aircraft so far, so it's pretty much spanking new. But in red, you can see right now, I have my wear and tear set to ×5. So hopefully we'll get some stuff happening quicker. Actually, matter of fact, my tire health is already down 62% on the left and 71 on the right because of that. So we're just gonna leave it as is. If we have a failure in this flight, we do. You have to manage your flaps, and yes, if these things fail, they will stop working for you. You won't be able to brake if your brakes go bad or your tires go flat. Your lights could go out. A lot of different cool things can happen, and this is what FS Reborn has done on all their aircraft. So we'll go over to the fuel page and get this baby fueled up for today's flight. So currently we are in Lebanon State Airport. We're actually in Oregon, just north of, I believe, Eugene, Oregon. The airport identifier is S60, and we're flying eastbound into the mountains to another not very well known airport called Sisters Eagle Air 6 Kilo 5. I'll show you that when we set up our flight plan in the GTN750XI. So we'll just bring about a half a tank just for safety reasons. We'll put 7.5 on either side. That's good. And then we'll put me in there as a passenger around, I don't know, let's say we'll round up to about 150. That works. And we'll bring some, some camera equipment. I gotta have my GoPros, my vlogging camera. That's about, I don't know, 10 pounds. Probably less than that. We'll round up to 10 pounds. That's good to go there. We're all fueled up. If you have any questions, there's an FAQ section. And of course, we have our settings where you can set, on and off the wear and tear speed, and various things like that. Again, this is a staple for all FS Reborn aircraft. And first we'll go down here and we'll get our fuel switch. We'll go with the right tank. And then we'll go up to the top, get our main switch turned on, and then our auxiliary pump. That's gonna pump up the fuel there into the fuel lines. Only for a few seconds. We can then turn it off. And then clear! Oh yeah. Oh, hold the brakes. And now we'll get our instruments and avionics turned on. You'll see we have the Garmin G3X Touch here on the left with the GTNXI 750. Some really cool features they've added in the recent avionics update, and between TDS and Working Title and even FS Reborn. So we'll show off a few of those things as well. It'll continue here.
TOS system test okay.
All right, now the TOS system test is okay. We'll go to our flight plan, and we're at Lebanon State S30. And we're just gonna go direct to 6 Kilo 5. And if you're interested in either of these airports, these are free airports available on flightsim.to. So big shout out to those developers. Great job on this one. All right, we'll go to our map view, and we can leave it here. Zoom out, we can see our full flight plan. As I said, we're heading east into the mountains, so we are gonna have to avoid some of these peaks. So I don't really know exactly what altitude we'll be flying because I gotta kind of play it by ear. And we're just gonna set our radio and transponder. We'll be ready to go. We can either do this on the G3X or we can do it on the GTN 750. I'll use the GTN. I just kind of prefer it, but they're both touchscreen. You just basically touch on the screen to make your changes. So I'm gonna go over here to the right side and we'll type in the Unicom code and transfer 122.8, and we'll squawk altitude reporting, squawk VFR for our VFR flight today. And we'll get our door shut here on the right. I love the butterfly door style doors. That's pretty cool. And we'll set our flaps to half. There we go. If you need to, you can add some cabin heating, anything like that. We have a constant speed prop down here, so we do have control over our propeller. We'll go ahead and put that in full max, and we're gonna want to have our RPM around 2,000 RPM here, just kind of at idle. And really quickly before we go, we'll do our run up as we always should do in these prop aircraft. So it shows we're gonna hold our brakes, which I'm doing right now. The oil temperature needs to be above 122 Fahrenheit, which it is 130 right now. The oil pressure from 12 to 102 PSI, which is good at 33 PSI right now. We'll set our throttle to 4,000 RPM. Okay, I think that's close enough. And we'll check our cylinder head temp, make sure it's looking good. It's above 122, it's at 138. And we'll check our ignition switches. So we'll go left, both, and right, both. Alright, looking good. Throttle back to 2,000 RPM, and we'll check the fuel pressure, make sure everything's good there. And that's a pretty simple run up here in a TL-3000. We'll get our lights on, so we have our nav lights good to go. Nice. And we'll release the brakes there and start rolling. By the way, this red handle does devious things. So all I'm going to say is don't press the red handle. I pressed it one time because I thought it was the parking brake. It is not the parking brake. I will show you what that red handle does later, and trust me, I don't know that you're going to see it coming. At least I didn't see it coming when I pressed it on accident. So, good to go. Altimeters set to 992. And we'll taxi out the runway 16 here in Lebanon. Alright, here we are at Bravo and runway 16. We'll hold short temperature for a second. We'll remove this iPad out the way. Do a quick flight control check. Very important to do even in flight simming. All good to go. What we'll do is we'll remain in a pattern for one circuit, kind of shake off the rust and see how she handles, how she feels, and then we'll continue directly out to Sister Eagle Field. So Lebanon traffic, Sirius 16 Bravo, taking off runway 16, remaining in the pattern, left traffic, Lebanon. Let's go, chat. Let's go. Land lights are on. I gotta say, it's a pretty cool little plane. FS Reborn always does an amazing job. Alright, and we'll just keep going. We got a crosswind, so watch out for that. And rotate. Ooh, she is smooth, baby. Alright, gonna put on our Bose noise canceling headphones here as we remain in the pattern. We're airborne. We'll level off right around here. You can see the small town of Lebanon down there below us. At least I think it's Lebanon. I'm not sure what the name of the city is. There's a little school over there. That's pretty cool. And I can't quite see the airport just yet. It's behind the wing, but we're turning onto our left up or downwind. Runway 16. One thing you want to watch out for in this aircraft is the RPM. I believe you can only stay in the red for, I want to say, right around a minute before you start damaging your engine. So if you just see yourself flying this aircraft and you start having engine failures like really often, most likely it's because you're not managing your RPM. And all you gotta do is pull that blue lever back, and that will manage that pretty easily. So we're gonna go ahead and bring our speed back because we're gonna be turning our left base here pretty soon, and we'll get our flaps back in too. But yeah, I mean, I don't know why, but I love GA planes that simulate wear and tear on the engine and on the model, because you actually have to fly it a certain way, right? You can't just, you know, do any kind of thing. You got to actually take care of that baby. All right, we're gonna turn left here at the river and at that big kind of industrial complex. And also the trim in this is a bit weird. The trim is right here. I've never seen a trim in that position before, but I gotta get used to that. I'm still using my normal switch on my yoke to do it, but it is a bit weird to see it right there. Absolutely love how this aircraft is handling. It's so smooth. Oh my god, it's crazy. Like it's light but smooth at the same time. A lot of the aircraft in Microsoft Flight Sim that are really light, like the small
500
smaller jets or the ultralight aircraft, just feel really twitchy, like over responsive. I don't get that from this aircraft. Alright, we are a little fast. Alright, full flaps, which is about 75%. Look left, you can see them coming down. She is a very light aircraft. Hence the name ultralight. But again, I think this is more of a light sport aircraft. Alright, here we come in for a touch and go. Lebanon traffic, Sirius 16 Bravo. Short final 16 for touch and go. Lebanon. Alright, here we go. Do have a little bit of crosswinds, so we'll watch out for that. We'll let it basically glide its way down. That crosswind is right to left. Keep that in mind. Here we go. Oh! And we buttered it so much we floated. Oh, the plane wants to fly. The right wheel's off the ground. It's that crosswind, I'm telling you. Alright, power back in. We'll flaps to takeoff. We're at 30 knots. We got plenty of runway. We got it. We can make these trees. And we are back up. Very nice. I love it. I love it. I love it. We're gonna make a pretty fun little turn here to the left, and we'll continue en route to our destination for today. You see that bump? We're getting that light shot right over the tops of these trees. I don't know if people realize. I think the GA community realizes it, but I think some people in the community don't realize that you do kind of get that turbulence and those waves of air coming off of the tree line, and we just felt that just now in the bumps. All right, we'll go flaps up here. We still got our RPM set. We're around 55, I think. RPM is good here on climb out. And then we'll point our nose to the east and head to our destination. Lebanon traffic, Sirius. Lebanon traffic, Sirius 16 Bravo is on the left crosswind departure to the east. Last call, Lebanon. Alright, cool. Made our last call to Lebanon, and you can already see ahead of us we're going to have some very nice scenic view coming up. Looking forward to that, looking forward to that. Love flights like these. But yes, I can't say it enough. The aircraft flies really nicely. I'm using a honeycomb alpha yoke. And it's actually very easy to trim it too. Like I'm trimming it out and I got a nice stable climb here. That's pretty nice. We can get our landing lights off since we are now away from the area of the airport. And I think we'll climb up to around 6,000 or so. And we'll see how that does. If we have to go higher, we might. I do know there's some mountains ahead of us that might peak around 10,000. But we might be able to snake around that. We'll see. Oh crap. Oh crap. I didn't mean to do that. I was trying to switch the tanks and I put it off, but thankfully the engine just started right back up. So, well, I guess it's a good time to check in with you guys. So we're still climbing up. I'm flying it by hand because it's just so nice to fly by hand. So I don't really want to hand it over to the autopilot, but there is an autopilot and I will show that to you. I want to pitch for around 75 knots. That's a pretty good climb speed for this aircraft. And I'll show you guys how to activate the autopilot. We'll look up to the top and we have a flight director, a yaw damper. I'm gonna set nav mode there, and so that's gonna track the GPS. We can now see we have that, you know, that flight director there helping guide us to the flight plan. So we'll continue to make that a right turn. It's around 75. We'll go up and hit IAS mode, so it's like speed select. And I just noticed that I never actually selected an altitude, so we'll do that as well. The left knob here will allow you to crank up your altitude. So we'll go for about 60. We're going eastbound, so that's about, let's try 7,500 for VFR altitude right now. That looks good. And again, we'll pitch back up here. We're full throttle, but our RPM is back just a little bit. And then once we get around to 75, between 75 and 80, we'll go ahead and hit IAS hold. That'll lock that speed down, and then we'll put autopilot on. Like that. I'm now hands-free. So now the aircraft should try to climb around 81 knots. That's where we kind of hit the button. It's also turning left to meet the GPS. You can see that also here on our GTNXI 750. You can zoom out. You can see our full flight plan. We can zoom in. Oops. You can zoom in and get a better look. So we have our glide distance here. That kind of that cyan ring right there saying, hey, this is based on your altitude. If you lost an engine right now, this is basically your options, which are not too good for us right now. No airports nearby, but because we're in an ultralight aircraft, I think you have maybe a little bit better glide distance, but I could be wrong about that. We're about 50 miles away from our destination and about 29 minutes at our current speed and altitude. You can also split screen the G3XI, which is pretty cool. Click split, and you can zoom this out. You could also see very similar stuff. So it's a pretty, this Avionics package is a very powerful combination. The working title G3X Touch and the GTNXI 750 by TDS. I use this thing in pretty much almost every GA plane that I fly. Highly recommend it. It is a third-party payware add-on, but it works with a lot of different aircraft, including this one. But definitely would recommend it. I love using it. It has all kind of features in here. It has obviously your map, your traffic, your terrain. I don't know if the weather works. Does the weather work? It used to not work, but it has some weather features. Oh, actually, I think it does work. It has a weather a radar kind of thing in there. It has charts. You can actually look at charts. Now, obviously, the airports that I'm flying in today do not have charts. But we do have, like, let's see, like Eugene, KE, Eugene. So that should have, and up there is airport chart. Now, this is actually also now linked to Navigraph. So you can now have the Navigraph data and the charts, which is a brand new feature to the TDS GTNXI, which is very, it's why it's so powerful, because you can literally have all your information right in here, which is very, very nice. You can zoom into the chart and all that. Arrivals, really cool. It has approaches, departures, arrivals. So obviously, we're not using a lot of that in this particular flight, but that is capable of being done. That's why I like it so much. So very nice. I'm super happy that they're now working in collaboration with Navigraph to get you much more accurate data and a much more powerful tool. We also have a descent calculator in here for VNav, which is nice. I use that all the time. We've got a fuel planning, and we'll use our present position here, 26kilo5, point-to-point, use sensor data, which is basically use the data from the aircraft based on fuel. We currently have 14.2 gallons on board. Our fuel flow at the moment is 4.8 gallons per hour, and our ground speed is 123 knots. So it's going to show us, to get this 6kilo5, we need 1.8 gallons of fuel. And it also shows us how much we'll have when we get there. Again, super powerful tool. It also shows we have a reserve, how much reserve we have. So we have plenty of range, 399 miles. Our endurance is basically 3 hours of fuel we have on board right now, which is pretty good. So a lot of great stuff in here. I don't really have time to go through all of it right now, but I use this, like I said, on every GA plane I fly, basically. But all right, so we've leveled off at 7,500 feet. Aircraft is caught that altitude with the GPS. We're squawking VFR. We're still flying VFR. We can actually hide that. We don't really need that. We have our synthetic vision. We can actually see the mountains and terrain ahead of us. And we have our map over here if we want to use that. So love this combination. Again, it's going to show us right now about 20 minutes out from 6kilo5. And it might be a little bit of a bumpy ride, but it's going to be a beautiful ride. Oh my god, look at that. That is seriously gorgeous. See what I did there? See what I did there? Anyways. That is nice. That is so nice. Man, I wanna fly so bad. This is the kind of flying I wanna do in real life. Like seriously, man. I gotta stop saying serious. Alright, I don't think we're quite close enough to descend. We're at 7,500 about 12. Well, we could start our descent here, I guess, but I just feel like we could wait a little longer, so I'll wait a little bit longer before I drop the nose down. Alright, we're gonna kill the autopilot and I will fly it from here. Let's get those landing lights on and the yaw temperature ought to be off. Don't need the flight director either. Airport is right off our nose, and here is the small town of Sisters. Yeah, that's the name of the town, and that right there is our airport. So we're actually coming in at a perpendicular angle right now, and we're gonna basically land from right to left. So what we'll do is we'll overfly the airport, and basically we'll enter into left traffic to come in for landing. But there it is, right there. All right, here we are overflying the airfield. Sisters traffic. Sirius 16 Bravo overhead, runway, what does that say? Runway 2 upwind, entering the pattern, left traffic, Sisters. Alright, power has been kind of idle right now as we've been descending. That's looking good.
500.
Adding power back in, we're about 500 feet above the field, so we're a little low for the pattern, but that works. And then we make our left turn for the crosswind leg of the pattern. Look at the airport. There it is right there. Pretty cool. I love airports like these where it has like a tight, skinny runway between the trees. It's not going to be like a difficult landing. It's plenty of runway for us, especially in this aircraft. We don't need much runway in this plane. But I love the positioning of this airport. Look at the mountains off on the skyline, on the horizon there that we just flew over. Beautiful trees. Like places like this are gonna look so incredible in Microsoft Flight Sim 2024 with the new 3D trees. I just can't wait. I can't wait. Like, I love flying airliners, don't get me wrong, but like flights like this just hit different. And if you like flying like this, you understand what I mean. All right, here comes our first notch of flaps. We're on our...
Don't sink.
I know. We're on our downwind leg now, midfield. Sisters traffic. Sirius 16 Bravo is on midfield. Downwind runway 2. Sister coming down for our final notch right over the town. He's pretty quiet at idle power. Doing about 54 knots here. I overshot just a little bit, center line, that's alright. I'm gonna let it glide in actually. Bring it right over the fence. And here it is. Oh, nice. Much better approach. Easy. Hold it, hold it, hold it. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Nice landing.
Very nice. Well, guess what, guys? You guys thought that was it? I have a surprise for you. Let's get back in the air and I'll show you. Power up. And we are up, baby. Alright, we're up at 8,800 feet now. And, oh, well, well, let's say that we have an engine failure. What's the first thing you do, guys? Well, we have a decent range at this altitude to find somewhere to land. We look around here. We see there's some farmlands over there we can land at. There's some kind of flat areas, farm over there. There's also some forward directly ahead of us. We could probably make that. We could probably glide and make that. Obviously, we're going to point the nose down and make best glide. But if it gets really bad, one of the things you can do is you can pull that red lever I told you never to press. And so that's what we're going to do. And I've never done this on purpose before, so let's see what happens. Right now the engine's just kind of windmilling at the moment. And let's pull it. Woo! Oh. Oh. Wow. Look at that. Look at that. Guys, this is this is crazy. So this is going to be a native feature in Microsoft Flight Sim 2024, but we have this already in 2020 thanks to FS Reborn, an actual parachute simulation. And we're descending, but very slowly, thanks to this parachute. So hopefully, as I look down, it seems like we should land in not too much of a forest area, but we'll see where the aircraft actually goes down at. But yeah, that's what the red lever does. You pull that red lever, it shuts everything down and deploys the chute. Very similar to the Sirius, like Vision Jet and things like that. So pretty neat. So it actually pops out of here, this little compartment we saw the little the sign at. But look at that, guys. Look at that. Look at that. Alright, I got all the avionics shut off. We'll see if we can at least try to save the battery if we come out of this okay. But you can actually see that the parachute is going with the wind, and we're actually kind of floating from right to left right now, kind of like in this direction right here. And it looks like we're going to probably land somewhere in this general area. We're coming down at a decent rate of speed, hopefully not too hard that doesn't hurt too bad, but I guess definitely survivable. We might actually hit one of these trees. We'll have to see how this turns out. I've never parachuted in a plane before. Yeah, we're definitely gonna land in this tree here. Here we come, guys. Brace, brace, brace. Oh, hoo, hoo. Oh, baby. There goes a parachute dropping down. Wow. Now, it was definitely hard, but I would say survivable. I would say survivable. But you know what they say, any landing you can walk away from is a good landing, right? That's what they say. That's what they say. Well, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. This is the Sirius TL-3000 by FS Reborn. A big shout out to FS Reborn and TDS for the GTNXI 750 for supporting this video. Guys, if you enjoyed this kind of flying, again, there's nothing like GA flying. And this might be your type of aircraft. I can always recommend an FS Reborn aircraft. Well, guys, until next time, remember, you have 3 choices. Give up, give in, you give it all you got. Peace, love, and God bless you. I'll see you guys next time, next video. I got a call for search and rescue.